Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. You have tuned in to episode number 398 of Linux in the Ham Shack, the most terrific amateur radio podcast on the internet. We're getting close to that 400 coming up real soon, so pay attention to that because there's a thing that we're going to do. We'll talk about that maybe a little later, maybe not. We'll see how it goes. But the information's already out there, so just, keep abreast because we're giving stuff away. And with that, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves, the cast of characters that bring you the Linux in the Ham Shack show. I'm Russ, K5TUX.
I'm Cheryl, W5MOO.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD.
And we roll on this week with our first topic, which is our lead topic, and that's the fact that this coming weekend we have the QSO Today Virtual Ham Expo, which Linux in the Ham Shack, of course, will be a part of. We'll be doing a live podcast stream during the expo, which I think as of right now is going to be at 2 p.m. Central on Saturday. That may change, so don't etch it in stone or anything. But that's where I think we're going to be. And, of course, a link to the QSO.
And we're going to call that episode 400, right?
Sure. Yes.
Is that going to be episode 400?
Yeah, we'll do that as episode 400.
We're going to record that as the episode?
Sure, why not?
Yes.
Yeah, whenever it happens.
That's one less episode to do, right?
So whenever that happens.
One less recording night we have to do, right?
Sounds good to me. I'm all about it. That will be episode number 400, and that's where the giveaway will be. So make sure you're tuned into it and check the website and everything for information on the giveaway and all that. And make sure you attend the QSO Today Virtual Ham Expo. Information, of course, is in the show notes and on the website. There's a banner and all that good stuff. So we hope to see you all there. And maybe join up with us on AirMeet and try that thing out, too. It'll be interesting. Or Discord, or just however you want to interact. Let's, just be a part of the expo. So with that being said, we need to jump into our amateur radio topics, which is what we usually do on these episodes.
Or we need to introduce ourselves.
No, we did.
One or the other.
We already did that.
We did. Remember? You said she was delayed.
Yeah, that's right. That's when I mentioned it was delayed. Yeah, sorry.
No, usually Russ leaves us out. So
no, I do not. Not usually. Come on.
Part of the time.
Every once in a while, maybe. But
our consistency is inconsistency.
Yeah, there you go.
Pretty much, yes. So anyway, since Bill doesn't know where he is, I guess we'll let him handle the first topic.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, this came from our good friend Neil, W something, what? Neil Rapp. WA9VPG? What's his call sign?
WA9VPG, something like that?
Okay, we'll go with that.
Okay.
Anyway, So you know what this is all about. This is Youth on the Air Camp 2021 application period is now opened. Yeah. Applications are now being accepted for campers interested in attending Youth on the Air Camp through March 21st, 2021. Licensed amateur radio operators ages 15 through 25 who want to attend are encouraged to apply online at youthontheair.org. The camp is scheduled to take place July 11th through July 16th, 2021 at the National Voice of America Museum of Broadcasting in Westchester Township, North Cincinnati, Ohio. The application process is free. The cost of the camp is $100 plus transportation to and from the VOA Museum. The $100 fee will not be payable until after acceptance. Should a potential camper not be able to afford the $100 fee, he or she may apply for a scholarship. Campers will be selected by the committee and notified by April 1st, 2021, of course. Positions for the campers are being held for open. The positions for campers are being held open for various areas of North, Central, and South America. If countries do not use their allocations or should someone decline acceptance, these positions will be filled from the remaining pool of applications. As this will be an ongoing process, everyone will not receive notification of acceptance at the same time. A total of 30 campers will be accepted. At press time, 24 of those spots are taken by campers that could not attend the 2020 camp since it was postponed due to COVID-19. We know that changes in COVID-19 pandemic status between now and July will have an impact on our decision to host the camp. At this time, we are still hopeful that hosting the camp safely July 11th through 16 of 2021 will be possible. Should we not be able to host the camp, we will let everyone know with as much notice as possible and postpone till 2022. Our plan is to make the final decision in mid-April. For details about the camp, download the camp brochure at the camp webpage at youthontheair.org. And of course, there's Neil Rapp, WB9, a VPG. So we were really close. I kept on thinking he was a WA.
I'm sure he'll forget.
So, you can check out the press release. Yeah. I had it almost right. I was thinking he was licensed way before, the B-Land. But anyway, so yeah, the press release is linked in the show notes, and check that out. So, let's see, 30 campers total. How many did they have for the carryover?
24 was the carryover.
24 of these spots. So there's 6 spots open for those that are interested. Of course, people could still cancel, whatever. Plus one to Youth on the Air. Let's help people get there. And if you haven't helped youthontheair.org with their scholarships, and you have some money to burn for your donations for the year, definitely get over there. They're a 501c3. It's fully tax deductible. Even, general tax filers have the $300 credit that they can use. So please use that and help fund those campers to go to camp.
Yes, please do that. Youth on the Air. We want to get everybody interested whenever possible. So this is a good way to do it. And good luck to those remaining 6 spots. Should be a fun camp this year. And since the next story is kind of Bill-centric once again, we'll let him take care of it because he's got commentary to go. He's going to editorialize.
I wrote this. So yeah, I did not actually copy this word for word, but I thought this was a really interesting story. This is Hog Wild about ham radio, Harley Davidson and ICOM. That's such a great combination. Jonathan Handler over at the Ultimate Motorcycling blog. I guess it's a blog. I didn't really know how to categorize that website, but I'll call it a blog. Reports on his 3rd series in this Ham on the Hog project. This time around, he's sporting a 2020 Harley Davidson Road Glide Limited, an ICOM IC705, an ICOM AL705. That's that handy dandy mag loop made by, I believe, Alpha Antennas, and many little QRP accessories to go along with the ride. While the articles in this series mainly review the equipment, it's a very interesting read and has given me some ideas for a little ham on the beamer.
Ham and beams.
So check out this blog. Ham and beams. I don't know. Yeah, something. I gotta think of something creative for that. I was just out on the beams today, enjoying the pre-spring weather that we've been having here in Montana. So check out this series, and I'm gonna go back myself and read the other series because this is like the 3rd Ham on a Hog series that he's done. Ham on a Hog project. So somehow I must have missed this, and I'm going to go back and reread all of that. So check that out, and it's an interesting amateur radio topic as I was pouring through all the amateur radio news that there is, and there just really wasn't anything interesting, and this one popped out because hey, why not? Motorcycles and ham radio. It sounds like a good combo.
Yeah, sounds good. And moving on, we got an email from a YouTuber about another virtual Ham Expo that apparently happened last year, but I don't recall hearing anything about it, and is supposed to have another one this year. We don't have a lot of details on this, but it's going to be at the end of May, the 28th through the 30th. And it's supposed to be a collection of YouTube amateur radio podcaster type personalities, whether it's video or audio or whatever. So we don't know much about it. Again, we know the date, and there's going to be some more details, and we haven't decided, since we don't really know anything about it, whether we're going to participate or not. But either way, it's this. You didn't even put the name on here. Oh, YouTubers bunch?
Ham Radio Dude channel.
I put everything on there. What are you not reading?
Yeah, I'm not reading.
The Ham Radio Dude channel.
Yeah, we've been invited to be a guest on the Ham Radio Dude channel as one of the invited YouTubers bunch virtual Hamfest group thingamabobber. So we have not talked back to the gentleman yet, But yeah, we will provide more details as that comes to fruition.
Or non-fruition, however it shall go. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, stay tuned one way or the other. There will be updates. So with that comes down to the end of our amateur radio topics for tonight, and that means we slip on into open source. And let's let Cheryl take one. She can read a story from TechCrunch.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So our first story is PowerFX, a new open source low-code language. Microsoft today announced PowerFX, a new low-code language that takes its cues from Excel formulas. PowerFX will become the standard for writing logic customization across Microsoft's own low-code Power Platform. But since the company is open sourcing the language, Microsoft also hopes that others will implement it as well, and that will become the de facto standard for these kinds of use cases. Since Power Platform itself targets business users more so than professional developers, it feels like a smart move to leverage their existing knowledge of Excel and their familiarity with Excel formulas to get started. Microsoft says the language was developed by a team led by Vijay Mittal, Robin Abraham, Sean Katzenberger, and Daryl Rubin. Beyond Excel, the team also took inspiration from tools and languages like Pascal, Mathematica, and Miranda, a functional programming language developed in the 80s. And the story came from TechCrunch, and the link will be in the show notes.
Yay. Something to replace VBA, right?
So you're going to have to start programming in PowerFX now instead of VBA?
We'll see.
Yeah. All right, very good.
It's actually a really interesting article. If you actually go in and read it, it kind of goes into the details how, like, where PowerFX will stop and start, much like where VBA kind of starts falling apart when you start using it a little too much.
I wouldn't know because I don't use Visual Basic. So, but anyway.
Yeah, well,
So anyway, the next topic we have is a topic called Jam. Like jam, pull out your guitar, let's jam. An open source clubhouse with WebRTC. Jam is an open source alternative to Clubhouse, Twitter Spaces, and similar audio spaces. With Jam, you can create audio rooms that can be used for panel discussions, jam sessions, free-flowing conversations, debates, theater plays, musicals, and more. I think I know why this one came up. The only limit is your imagination. And of course, this actually isn't on GitHub. It's on GitLab. Ooh, highfalutin. And of course, links to the Jam project will be in the show notes, on the show notes, within the show notes. There you go. Something like that.
Somewhere contained within the show notes. Yeah. I haven't really even gotten onto Clubhouse. I think it's still a private invite thing. So I'm not even sure like really what it is, but I did see this project listed as an open source, semi version of it. And you can go onto their web page and actually create a room. And basically, how I understand it is like when you join a room, now this Jam is more peer-to-peer, so it is bandwidth limited at this moment, especially if you self-host it. Obviously, it's limited to the bandwidth that your server provides. But you join a room, whether you have that room or you create the room, whatever. When you join a room, you join as the audience, and then you can tag a member as the member on stage, and that person then obviously has the floor, I guess. I'm not horribly familiar with any of this stuff, but anytime I see a WebRTC or any of these kind of audio rooms and audio visual video things, I'm always interested because, it's just kind of, what we do in podcasting as well, looking at various tools and ways to interact with the audience. And this is yet another kind of tool for that. And it's really cool that it's kind of already an open source thing. It's using WebRTC, which of course everybody is familiar with because of, basically all of Google Voice, Hangouts, and Google Meets is all WebRTC and stuff like that. So you're pretty familiar with the technology and stuff like that.
All right. Very good.
On their webpage, I'm on their page right now. It says Jam's a lightweight implementation of Audio Spaces, think Clubhouse, Twitter Spaces, Orbit, that runs in any modern browser on iOS, Android, macOS, Windows, Linux, or even your smart fridge. It's a bit like Zoom, just without video, screen sharing, and messaging. Another way to think of Jam is group calls with a simple UI. You see who's in the room, who is speaking, who isn't speaking, who agrees, who might want to say something, and so on. Not less, but also not more. That's what it says. So.
Oh, well, there you go. Now we have all the details. Thanks to Google Foo. So that means we come down to Linux in the Ham Shack, and Bill has been toying around with a couple of projects here. Well, we've all been toying around with projects, but the ones that Bill has been using are the ones we're going to talk about tonight. And you have like a review for us of Garuda Linux.
Yeah. So this one, I'm not even sure. I think I picked this up on Hacker News. It was listed as one of the links in there. And this is Garuda Linux. And I'll just read you the copy here. Garuda Linux is a user-friendly and performance-oriented distro, which is based on Arch Linux. Unlike Arch, the installation process is easy and management easy because of the many included advanced GUI tools that manage the system. That's a lot of managing. Garuda Linux provides system security by using automatic Btrfs snapshots when upgrading, which you can boot into if an upgrade fails. Our Ultimate Editions include everything you need to get gaming started right after installing. If you strive for a lighter system, simply download the Light Editions. And so when I saw this, I immediately saw the screenshots, which of course had the same icon set that Russ and I are using inside of our GNOME environments. So it immediately attracted me to like, ooh, sexy. It's already predefined for the way I have my system set up. And, so I instantly had to download it. I didn't even realize it was Arch at the time I downloaded it. So I downloaded the ISO and I was like, oh, I'll go ahead and try the KDE version. So I downloaded the, Garuda KDE DR460 NIZED, which would be pronounced Dragonized, the Garuda KDE Dragonized version, not the gaming edition, because there actually is a gaming edition version of that as well, which gives you obviously some, I think, like a gaming installer interface or something stupid like that. I don't mean to say stupid, but it is what it is. Anyway. So I was like, hey, let me think if I can make this ham radio ready. And of course it is Arch. So that means it's going to be all Archy, meaning the AUR is already there, which is enabled by default, because I went into the software manager and I'm like, okay, I want to install CQR log. And I was quickly prompted with, various Git versions and everything else. So I quickly clicked the source version, which was the most current, and installed that, which of course installed MariaDB and everything else that I'm pretty happy with. I installed WSJTX, and again I picked the source. I believe the source package. I can't remember the actual name of it, but it was the 2.3.0, which of course is the most the general availability release. And FLDigi, and what else did I install? Anything else? I'm thinking, probably not. Now I'm not a huge fan of KDE, but I hear so many good things about it. And, I'll just have to say that, yeah, it's still KDE. I don't like it that much. Just cause I'm not familiar with it. It's outside of my normal workflow. Pretty much anything GNOME-ish works fine. Like Budgie, GNOME. Even Mate works fine for my workflow. I'm pretty much, if I hit the super key and I start typing in what I want to run, it should pop up. And surprisingly, KDE does that too, but I didn't like it that much, but I didn't discount any points for it. I actually had to look back at my LHS readiness score to look at some of the Arch systems we've reviewed in the past. And Manjaro is like 3 point something. And, I know I hated on Manjaro because I blew up my system within the second update. I haven't gotten the opportunity to do an update with Garuda except for, the update that comes with the installer. which I do have to mention that the installer itself, which they pride themselves on, was very simple. It kind of reminded me of the Fedora installer. If I were to like say it's just like something, the Fedora installer kind of came to mind when I went through the installer, and it was very simple. You know, I had the simple, like, you know, erase disk, you know, do this, you know, use the standard layout. I did have an option for adding a swap section, which isn't necessarily needed anymore. You can do your own research on that. But I did add a swap just because I'm an old school, Linux guy. So my swap is there. Installed fine. I did it on a VM. Again, the installer just kind of did its thing, came back. The nice part about Garuda, when you first launch into it, it asks if you want to go ahead and run the initialization script or post installation script, which kind of runs you through updating, like, you know, setting your mirrors to be the most close, you know, the closest mirrors and stuff like that. The things you would do in Debian or in Ubuntu, but are not necessarily triggered by default. You actually have to go in and say, oh yeah, I want the mirrors that are like the lowest ping rate and the best bandwidth. This kind of did that automatically. The initialization script also went through and did like the entire system update if there was any packages that were out there and stuff like that, which was really kind of easy. I was was kind of surprised. I was just like, okay, yes, click, okay, and then just let it do its thing. And then I went through and, you know, added software. It has a nice little home application kind of window that kind of gives you everything to kind of do like the setup stuff, including add and remove software. And since I'm not horribly familiar with using Arch as a daily driver, you know, it gave me the add remove software window, and I don't know, what is it, YAD or something like that? I can't remember. But it was pretty easy. I used a search button. I did CQR log, picked it, WSJTX, picked it, FLDigi, picked it, FLRig, picked it. And I even did SDR Angel, which I know is a pain in the butt to install Ubuntu and in Fedora. And I picked the SDR Angel -bin project, which was the latest version revision. And yeah, everything installed, and guess what? Everything ran. It's amazing. It's actually quite nice. I put on here a 4.0 as an LHS readiness score, but I would say it's probably higher. It's only my bias that is holding it back for Arch, only because I know it's just likely to explode the next update. But yeah, totally my bias. I think it's much higher, and I think you would be happy with this if you didn't mind the archiness, you know. And they have other installs as well, so you don't have to do the KDE. They have multiple KDE versions, including the Dragonized version that I picked out, and they have a KDE multimedia version. They have an XFCE version, which doesn't look as sexy. They do have a GNOME version, which does have the same kind of icons that we have. What is that icon set called? Colorful something? I can't even remember.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
It's sexy. Okay, it is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
it's sexy. Yeah. So like if I were to like do everything over, I might actually have enough like insanity to pick this as my daily driver. I'm just not quite there yet, but you can find it in Cinnamon, Mate, XFCE, Wayfire, Qtile, BSPWM, i3WM. Holy cow. Like, you know, everything I could imagine is pretty much here. It is Arch, so deal with that. But yeah, it's experience wise, I would say it's pretty high. I would have to say that my score is biased low. So, if you're interested in refreshing your Shack computer, I would not be afraid to try this. Yeah, it's quite, it is compelling. I was kind of like looking at this VM like, oh yeah, this totally needs to go on the Mac Mini. So yeah, check out Garuda Linux. That's Garuda. Of course, we're gonna have the links in the show notes so you can find that. And yeah, at least at minimal an LHS readiness score of 4.0 or better.
All right, very good. Sounds promising, especially for an Arch distribution. So finally, in Linux in the Ham Shack, we have a quick discussion on a project we mentioned in our M17 deep dive with Stephen from the M17 project. He brought up mvoice, and mvoice is a digital voice mvoice is a digital voice graphical repeater. Fully functional, it says. It uses David Rose Codec 2 and operates as a complete M17 repeater, only there is no RF component. It can link M17 reflectors, and it can do routing. It works best with USB headsets and microphones. mVoice uses the default Pulse Audio or ALSA input and output devices, so obviously more development is necessary. So for most versions of Linux, all you need to do is plug in your headset, and you should be ready to go. And Bill did install this, and how did it go?
Yeah, so I only had to I'm running Fedora 33, so just a caveat to that. I did have to install the ALSA development libraries and the GTK MM. So I'm assuming that's GTK multimedia development libraries as well. So those are the two missing packages on my system. I did that. Ran the make. I do have to say that the make config is set up to really only run as if it's installed, because it was looking for configuration files in a certain directory, which were still attached to my home directory, but because I was just in the build process, it didn't run right. I would have to say that's a deficiency in the make file. It literally should just run out of your build. You shouldn't have to actually have to install to make it run. But anyway, I did have to do a make install, which installs it locally. So you don't have to, sudo make install. You just make install and it installs it in your local directory. And I already have my bin directory and my home directory already set up to be in the path. So I was able to run mvoice right away. Present you with a UI that's pretty simple. I don't know a lot about mvoice except for what we kind of talked about in the last podcast. Like, I didn't even aware that where there was, reflector modules, you can have up to 26 different modules, obviously for every letter and stuff like that. So that's kind of news to me. I did screenshot the UI is in the live channel for those of you that are lucky enough to listen to us live. And I highly recommend that. We record, of course, on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central. And, yeah, so you pick your destination list, you set up your user. Now, unlike Droid or DudeStar, where you have to put in your DMR ID to confirm it, mVoice doesn't care about that. So I'm assuming that's probably a bad thing because there's no really authentication. I was able to quickly connect to the LHS podcast or the open source. What do you call it? AF0SS, the open source amateur radio club. OSARC, right?
OSARC, yep.
Yeah, Open Source Amateur Radio Club's node or reference, or I don't know, M17
reflector
659 reflector. Yeah, sorry.
Hey, that's fine.
Reflector.
Use whatever terms you want. People will figure it out.
I'm just trying to guess what the REF stands for. Sorry, I'm still not all 100% with this digital stuff. I'm an old fart, so get over it. So yeah, you're presented with a selection, so you can connect your you pick your destination link. And then hit link, which, it does operate kind of like you are a repeater, which is weird, non-intuitive, but I think it works. There's a PTT button, a bunch of other little stuff. I don't know if we'll ever do a deep dive on it, but, you can check it out. And it was recommended as the client, the base client for doing any M17 work. And like I said, in Fedora 33, I only had to add a couple of packages before I could actually build this rather rapidly. And then when I did the install, it was pretty quick. So I was able to just, execute mVoice from the terminal, and the UI popped right up and everything worked as expected. And I'm currently linked to the AF0SS reflector. So I have not actually used it. So I can't tell you if I actually have it working or not. But if it's that quick and easy, you can do it too. It's probably pretty slick and easy. They have instructions as well on their site for using it on a Raspberry Pi OS. So anything you're missing, they have a little hints of what you'll need to add there. As well, if you're just on an Ubuntu system in general, it has some general stuff that you need, like, of course, Build Essential to do your normal package stuff. So rewind back to our episode on setting up your build environment to talk about that. And then, of course, the lib GTK MM, which is the GTK multimedia, the lib Sound 2, which is the also Devel libraries. And then I didn't have to do the libcurl. Is that libcurl? Yeah, libcurl. GNU Tools dev. I didn't have to do that because I think I already have that for some other project. But other than that, I just cloned the repo on the website, which we have linked in the show notes, and just kind of went from there. They do actually have a desktop file in there, so you can copy that over and get yourself a actually menu item for running this. I just ran it from the terminal myself. So, yeah, check it out. M17, it's hot new craziness. And, obviously we had the deep dive, last week. So if you haven't heard that, go back, rewind, listen to that, and learn all about M17 and, try out mvoice, along with, some of the other things we talked about, like DudeStar and DroidStar.
Yeah, please do that. It's cool technology. And if you want to get into another facet of the amateur radio hobby and use open source while you're at it, it's a good place to go. So that actually brings us down to the end of our topics for the evening. So we're going to bring Cheryl in here, who may have gone to sleep. I'm not sure.
No, I'm still alive.
Bill,
especially after me.
Yeah,
right?
decided to be long-winded tonight, but that's okay. That's okay. You didn't have to flesh everything out. It's all right. But let's go ahead and get down to the social media roundup, and we'll let Cheryl take care of that.
Alrighty then. So to start the evening out, we'll do our Patreons, which is Eric Guth, Brandon Rozek, John Spriggs, Robert Lewis, Robert Pitts, Douglas Redder, David Jakeway, Darren King, Cubicle Nate, Erna Costalis, Samuel Vimes, Peter Caffrey, Richard Gordon, Paul Griffith, Jonas Rulo, Donald Gover, Herb Garcia, Steve Sainer, Steve Metcalf, William Heckelman, Randolph Smith, and Andy Webster. For our subscriptions, we have Isaac Geyer, however it's pronounced, Thomas Foy, Michael Bradak, Kevin Ivey, Tony Coberly, Ronald Ike, Johnny Kinsey, Peter Spots, Fred Cole, Bill Piotr, Jeffrey Boris, Robert Halliday, Wayne Hale, John Clark, Steve Hepler, Michael Jopling, Roger Pereira, Howard Dittmer, Todd Bowers, Michael Carey, A. Taylor, Dylan Engel, Jim McKenzie, Bill Collins, Robert Black, Darren King, Randolph Smith, Robert Yerke, Steve Biella, Alan Wilson, Mark Farrell, and Jeff Zimmerman. No one joined us on Facebook this week. On Twitter, we had at N2NSL, at Denise97897243, at Osiris247, and at VE3SKX. On YouTube, we had George P.I. Murray, Andrew Brafferty, N4WGL, Rowan369, Greg Phillips, Chakpanu Kamastiet, that was a good massacre, and Michael Wenert. So,
sure, I'm sure that's not even
not
close.
even close. Yeah.
It hardly matters. So, but thanks everybody for joining us on our social media platforms. We hope everyone enjoyed this episode, maybe got a little bit of information out of it. And if you have any feedback to send us or any topics you'd like to see us cover that we haven't already covered, or maybe a topic that needs a refresh, you should go ahead and check out lhspodcast.info for all the ways you can contact us and all the ways you can support us and all the ways you can send us feedback. We'd love to hear it. And we should probably go ahead and mention the folks who are with us on the live recording tonight, listening in the chat. We had Tom, N4HAI, Tony, K4XSS, Don, KC9ZMY, and Ted, WA0EIR. So thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us and going through some of our amateur radio and open source topics. And we hope...
Should we mention the episode 400 stuff real quick?
Sure. Go ahead. This is your baby.
So, yeah. Yeah, again, this is from me personally. This is obviously we're in episode 398. We're 2 episodes away from episode 400, and episode 400 where we're rewarding all of our subscribers and our Patreons. We're going to select one of them to win a Raspberry Pi 400 kit. So the kit with all the little goodies in it, the whatever, roughly worth $100 US. I'm going to buy a kit for one of you subscribers or Patreons that have stuck with us over the years, or maybe just joined us in supporting the podcast. We really appreciate your staying with us over the years and visiting us at Hamvention. And since we haven't really got to talk to you face to face, I was really jonesing to do something different. So I took the opportunity to put 2 numbers together and have some numerology, and here we are with episode 400 that will occur during the QSO Today virtual Hamfest on Saturday, March 13th, right? At 2 p.m. Central, sort of.
That's what I believe
Something
it will
like
be. If something changes, we'll let everybody know as soon as we can.
Yeah. So, most likely we'll record episode 400 there. We'll call it episode 400, whether it's in the style of a normal episode or not. We don't know, but, I think that's good enough. We've kind of already said that, if you're going to become a member or a Patreon or a subscriber through PayPal, you need to kind of do it by, I believe you said, the 11th, on the website. So, let's stick with that. It just makes it easier. We'll be before the keynote on the QSO Today Ham Radio Show. Now, of course, it's not for just random listeners. It's not for people that join in on the virtual QSO Today show. It's literally just for Patreons and subscribers. You don't have to become one to do this, because you just won't be part of it. It's fine. I'm not telling you have to do this. And, this is not available to anybody who's not a supporter of the program, because, it's really just for the people that have kind of, helped us out and stuck with us and continued with our annual campaigns on trying to go to Hamvention. Even though we obviously sidelined those for the last two, last 2 Hamventions now.
Yeah.
We do have money obviously in there from the previous campaign for 2019 that we weren't, or 2020.
2020.
Yeah, the 2020 campaign that will eventually roll into a 2022 campaign, I'm assuming.
That's the idea.
And again, most of those are the people that are already subscribed and are participating in Patreon. So we really, really want to thank you. And I wish I could send something out to everybody. And who knows? I might send stickers out to extra people and stuff like that. We'll see how that goes, but I won't guarantee that. But for sure, one of you subscribers or Patreons will be getting a Raspberry Pi 400 kit from me directly. So I appreciate you no matter what. If you want to become a subscriber or Patreon, please do that. It's through the website, lhspodcast.info. Do it before March 11th and continue to do it for the rest of your life and the rest of the podcast, which, we continue to do and continue to find content that's of interest to you. And speaking of content, if we're not talking about what you want to hear, please let us know. Please give us feedback. And we have tons of information. The outro, I know a lot of people don't listen to that because of the music. You forward through it. Send us an email at info@lhspodcast.info. We have a Twitter handle at LHS Podcast. We have a Facebook page. Please just message us. We will get back to you. We will listen to you. Please tell us what you want, what we're not talking about, what you want us to talk about. Yes, I know I'm lazy on YouTube. I have not done crap like I promised. And, this is why we're not YouTubers, in quotes. We do a podcast. We'll try to do better. Sorry. But check out the bcts.info/contest, right? Is that the link that you
URL.bcts.info/contests. Yeah.
Okay, I was almost.
Or you can just go to the website and there's a link to contest.
Just go to LHS Podcast.
Yeah.
You can find out. So, again, if this is just for members and subscribers, you do not have to become one because, it's fine. I'm good. There's a small list right now. I mean, we have about 30, 40 people here. That's fine. I don't have to, paste too many names in the list there. So, you're saving me pasting time. But, please, if you feel like doing it, just do it before March 11th.
Well, technically before March 12th, because you have until midnight on March 12th. So 11:59 March 11th. So you have all of March 11th too. So
yes, totally legit and legal. We're doing this. We're going to enforce that right away.
Yeah.
As soon as I check the list, that's it.
So there you go. All right. Well, thanks everybody. And we'll catch you hopefully in a week's time for the next episode, which will be at the QSO Today and Radio Expo. So have a good one. This has been episode number 300 and
98.
Yeah, no, but wait. So the next one can't be 400.
No, we're going to have a deep dive next.
Oh, that's right.
Deep dive
So it's not the next one. It's
what's
the
our
one
deep
after
dive
that.
on?
OpenRTX.
Yeah. So the deep dive. Yeah, OpenRTX. So join us for the deep dive next week on OpenRTX, and then
right.
Are we off a week?
No, we're not.
Oh, because the OpenRTX actually will fall behind. Oh wow, we are off a week because the OpenRTX will be technically episode 400. It'll be $3.99 at the show because we'll record 400. Yeah, so this will be weird. So I think we're just going to keep them in the numbering, and we'll release episode 400 after the OpenRTX.
Yeah, I think
so. OpenRTX will be $3.99, which we will record on Thursday. So join us live here Thursday for OpenRTX, which will be published on Monday. We will record episode 400 at the show, which will be published the following Monday.
Yeah, just to make it weird. So anyone, don't pay any attention to that. Just
yeah, it's our fault. We're just kind of screwed up. Sorry about that. So episode 400 will come out. Will drop on March 15th. So that'll be, or no, it'll come out March 22nd, won't it?
All right, now I'm confused.
We're totally confused. So we record OpenRTX on the 11th. We publish it on the 15th. We were going to record episode 400 on the 13th and publish that on the 26th.
We'll just publish that on Friday.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So
yeah, we'll figure it out. So don't worry.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We're going to do it on the 13th, though. That's the one we're picking. We're picking on the 13th, no matter what we call that episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's our own convoluted, crazy recording schedule / publishing schedule, which is different.
Yeah, that's
yeah. So before we make anything too much more confusing, let's go ahead and get out of here. This has been episode number 398 of Linux in the Ham Shack. I'm Russ, K5TUX.
I'm Cheryl, W5MOO.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD 73.